Amadou Diallo was not just a headline. He was a son, a dreamer from Guinea, West Africa. He came to New York City with hope, determined to study computer science and support his family back home. Friends described him as gentle, hardworking, and kind, a neighbor anyone would want. He sold goods on the street, hustling honestly to save for college. His dream was simple education, not riches. In a city of noise and ambition, Amadou's goal was pure. He wanted to learn and believed in the American promise. At 23, he was just starting his life, unaware of the tragedy ahead. He lived modestly in the Bronx, part of a tight-knit West African immigrant community. Amadou was known for quiet determination, navigating a new world with courage. He prayed, called his mother, and believed in people's goodness. He saw New York as a land of possibility, following the path of so many immigrants before him. His story was meant to be one of success, not tragedy. Before we talk about what happened, remember, he was a human being, not a statistic. This is the person we must see first. February 4th, 1999, a cold night in the Bronx. Amadou Diallo stood outside his apartment, unarmed, just steps from home. 4 plainclothes NYPD officers searching for a suspect spotted him in the vestibule. They thought he looked suspicious and approached. Amadou, whose English was limited, may not have understood their shouts. The officers claimed they ordered him to show his hands. He reached for his wallet, perhaps to show ID. In a split second, one officer yelled, "Gun!" and chaos erupted. 41 shots were fired. 19 struck Amadou. He died in his own doorway, holding only his wallet. The officers had fired a hail of bullets at an unarmed man. His dreams and future were extinguished in seconds. The silence of that Bronx street was shattered. The city would never be the same. The noise that followed was a cry of pain and anger. Amadou never had a chance. The tragedy was set. News of Amadou's death sent shockwaves through New York. 41 shots became a symbol of something deeply wrong. Outrage grew. How could this happen to an unarmed man? Protests erupted, starting in the Bronx and spreading citywide. People of all backgrounds marched, demanding justice. They chanted his name, carried signs, and called for accountability. Daily acts of civil disobedience kept the story in the headlines. Prominent figures and everyday New Yorkers were arrested in protest. The city was forced to confront questions about race, policing, and the value of Black lives. The 4 officers were indicted for second-degree murder. Amadou's mother, Kadiatou, arrived from Guinea, showing dignity and strength. She became the face of the movement, seeking justice, not revenge. The family's civil lawsuit settled for $3 million, but no money could bring Amadou back. The fight for justice had only begun. The trial of the 4 officers gripped the city. Moved to Albany for impartiality, the decision angered many. The defense argued the officers acted out of fear, mistaking Amadou's wallet for a gun. The prosecution called it criminal recklessness. 41 shots at an unarmed man. Evidence showed Amadou was hit while falling or on the ground. After weeks of testimony, the jury, 8 white, 4 black, deliberated. The verdict, not guilty on all charges. The courtroom and city were stunned. For many, it felt like the system had failed. Amadou Diallo's story echoed far beyond the courtroom. Artists and musicians responded, ensuring his name would not be forgotten. Bruce Springsteen's American Skin, 41 Shots, became an anthem, sparking controversy and conversation. Hip-hop and R&B artists like Wyclef Jean and Mos Def spoke to the pain and frustration in their communities. Public Enemy and others continued the tradition of using music to fight for justice. The case was referenced in TV, documentaries, and films, becoming cultural shorthand for injustice. 41 shots became a symbol of excessive force and racial profiling. The arts kept the story alive for a new generation. The cultural response was a way to mourn, demand change, and keep Amadou's legacy alive. His story became part of America's conscience. The movement would not be silenced. The Diallo case was a turning point, but not the end. It drew a painful line through American history, one crossed again and again. From Trayvon Martin to George Floyd, the pattern continued: unarmed black men killed, justice elusive. The case forced a national conversation about racial profiling and police tactics. The NYPD's street crime unit was disbanded, but deeper problems remained. The fear for my life defense set a precedent, making convictions difficult. Public frustration grew with each new case. The Black Lives Matter movement stands on the activism sparked by Diallo's death. The fight for police reform today is a continuation of what began with Amadou's story. His legacy is woven into every call for justice. More than 2 decades later, Amadou Diallo's story is a call to action. His mother, Kadiatou, turned tragedy into advocacy, founding the Amadou Diallo Foundation. She travels the country, building bridges and sharing his story to promote healing and understanding. 41 shots remains a rallying cry against police brutality. For a generation, it shaped the fight for justice and reform. Amadou's life reminds us that dreams and goodness are not always enough to protect Black lives. Remembering him is an act of hope, a commitment to change. His story sparked reforms and a national conversation that continues. We honor him not just for how he died, but for how he lived. By remembering Amadou Diallo, we vow to build a better